by our own guest for this morning. We are expecting to get Gulolo to speak on some of the issues here, but we are hoping to be joined very quickly via Zoom by Gerald Katchy, human rights activist. If we get him on set, let's quickly get the conversation going and discuss it. Thank you very much, Comrade. If you can hear me, it's time for us to start to ask you. Insecurity is a big problem across the country as we speak now. And with this burning problem, many believe that we are not seeing the last of it now because of the alarming number of out-of-school children in the Northeast. The United Nations, UNICEF, had continued to raise alarm that those numbers appear to be far more out of proportion. Sometimes you'll be hearing someone telling you about 3 to 4 million children are out of school, far above the population of the Gambia, and sometimes almost half the population of the nation of Israel. And you're asking, if we have these persons who are more than one state, young men roaming the street, not going to school, some of them just begging on the street, and many will be asking, are we really serious about it? Now, Comrade Gerald, let's get your take on it first. How did we get here?
Yes, a very good morning to you, and thank you for having me. To start with, the figures about 3 million or thereabouts cannot be correct, because as far as I'm concerned with other reports with UNESCO, international organizations that have done their own fact check, show that out-of-school children runs in tens of millions in Nigeria. In tens of millions, some will tell you over 26, some tell you over 23, some tell you over 17 million, but it runs in tens of millions when it comes out of school children. And it's not just alarming. If there's more word that is more than alarming, that is the case where we find ourselves. And it's supposed to be our potential. It's supposed to be our asset. It's supposed to be what makes us one of the greatest countries. But then it becomes something that is derailing our, growth. If you look at our security architecture today, if you put all our security team together, Nigerian military, police force, civil defense, immigration, correctional facility, custom, just put all of them together, they're not up to 1.2 million. And you have out-of-school children running in tens of millions, means that is a theater of recruitment for bandits, terrorism, kidnappers, and so on and so forth. Meaning that insecurity problems in Nigeria is, solving it is not in sight. It's not something that one can hit his chest and say this current administration or even successive administration can solve. But the way out is ensuring that these children return to school, because knowledge is key. Vacuum does not exist alone. Once you are not imparting positive knowledge on children, certainly nature will find a way to give other knowledge that is counter to positive. And that's what we have today. Because these children are not in school to be educated, to acquire knowledge. Others are using that opportunity to install some things that are not too good. At the end of the day, it becomes what we have today with regards to bandits or criminals or terrorists and what have you. So that is the bane of our problem. I think it was Goodluck Ebele Jonathan under his administration that tried to, solve this problem with regards to emergency schools here and there. But then they use politics. They use politics to, destroy that good attempt in finding solution to insecurity. So no matter how we, support, mobilize our security without tackling it from the foundation, which is the out-of-school children, it will be almost effort in futility. And that is why those developed nations who claim to be our friends are utilizing, especially those that specializes in illegal mining. They use it to create distraction for our country. Where government will be struggling to see how they curtail the issues of insecurity, and they will be having their field day with regards to, illegal mining. So it's interconnected. And most importantly, we need to find a way to resolve our differences with neighboring countries like Niger, Chad, Senegal, Burkina Faso, those ASICs that connects to Libya, because issues with those countries are giving room to porous borders for our nation. Issues with those countries makes our borders very difficult to be manned, because the change of government that is not constitutional they have there. So we need to find a way to resolve our relationship with them. Just recently we saw even issues of flooding that took place in Niger State. The other time it was Lado Dam. So if we have good relationship with our neighbors, if there are issues that will affect security.
Now, Comrade Gerald, if you allow me cut you a little, if you can just allow me a little, let me cut you here. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, the issue of how we relate and deal with our neighboring countries and what they are doing, and how most times these criminals tend to infiltrate Nigeria via the border of neighboring countries like Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and several others, even Benin Republic. But let me stay with the issue of the out-of-school children, and you've touched that with a little lamentation of how the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's Alamajiri School initiative was killed anyway by the APC opposition structure then, that really fired the media ballistic missile on the project and ensured that that Alamajiri school project was killed, and everyone had to go back, the schools and everything. Only God knows how most of those billions of naira, even dollars we spent, actually went down the drain. But now, within the school, out of school children, some believe that they may not be out of school because some of them are in the houses of some malams under the Alamajiri school, under the Alamajiri system, where they learn certain Arabic knowledge, and subsequently they go out to beg and stay and all of that here. But now we are asking us to change it. This is a long tradition, very common in most parts of the north, and even in some parts of Abuja. But we're looking at the northeast, for instance, where we have the Boko Haram insurgency. These Alamajiri guys have become easy platform for recruitment. Now, do you believe, let me put it that way, that we can change this age-long tradition? Can we change it? Because some are believing, as far as the metal Alamajiri system here, and we are going to leave it here, and there is nothing anyone can do about it, that even Goodluck that you talked about as the president and commander-in-chief tried to raise it, and you see how even the people who thought he was helping shred it.
I think yes, we can actually have a way to, fall back at that plan, or even change this narrative or cultural thing that is not helping us to grow. How do we do that? We have enacted a lot of beautiful laws, that are supposed to, one way or the other, handle these issues. One of those laws is Child Rights Act. But in those northeast, how many of them have domesticated such beautiful arts? They use religion, to confuse a lot of persons. They try to, use even those people that frustrate these laudable efforts. We have their children train abroad or go to better schools, but these children of the poor will not be given that opportunity. So it's unfortunate. I think we can change that narrative. How can we do that? If we can make it mandatory that no child should be found in any malam house or see on the street or in the bush steering cow, make it compulsory. This free and fair and free education that is given to basic education, that is primary schools, should be made compulsory and enforceable. If we don't have the enough manforce to do that, we can recruit either JTF or even allow the monarchs, the traditional leaders, to recruit persons that can enforce this laws, ensuring that every child is sent to school. Once every child is sent to school, the issue of insecurity will be more than 50% solved. Yes, it can be solved. And these issues of Arabic, teachings, it's not as if it's bad, because even among the Arabic, they teach them about technology, science, laws, and so on and so forth. But then, since we have English as our central language, it is important we can find a way to enforce these things. If it's not enforceable, we go back to some of the resolutions of National Conference for 2014, where we can regionalize our government so that it can appear to be a true federated unit. So that if, for example, Northeast Nigeria decides that they will use Arabic as their language and they will use it as a form of teaching or learning, of course, it can be accommodated, because whatever you teach in English, whether it's mathematics or science or chemistry or whatever it is, can be transformed into Arabic teaching. You understand? Provided the children or the pupils will understand it. You understand? But it shouldn't be a situation whereby you have a central language and another language is being used to, teach the pupils. At the end of the day, integration into the system becomes a problem. And sometimes some of these children that are taught in Arabic may be very intelligent, very sound. But because of the language barrier, people tend to see them as if they don't know what they are doing, or they are not too well educated, or they are ignorant of the system. So these are some of the challenges we are facing. So if we choose Arabic school as part of our school curriculum or system, we should make it clear so that those that want to use Latin in the south can use Latin. Those that want to use their tradition like Yoruba, Igbo to teach, transforming or transferring some of these subjects into their own language teaching, can do that. But as far as we are concerned that we are using English language, let us enforce it so that it will be easy for these children to communicate. It will be easy for these children to understand. Another thing I want to let you know, the fundamental issues in resolving these things lies from the traditional rulers. Once they are sensitized and made it, whoever that is lead, either commander-in-chief or the governor of the state, make it clear to them that it's a must that these laws must be enforced in your state, under your watch. If it's not done that way, your staff of office can be withdrawn. You can be dethroned. You see, all of these things will come up. I tell you some of the challenges we are facing as an organization. In Niger State alone, we have issues of forced marriage, even underage marriage, especially during Salah period. And similar thing is happening in Northeast because of out of school children. They say it's their tradition. You understand? They say it's their tradition, just like it was a tradition in Southern Nigeria when they were killing twins. Just as it's a tradition in some areas when they were, terminating albinos. Until laws come out, until people start speaking up, until what the kind of intervention your station is doing by treating this kind of things. Begin to speak up, begin to speak out, begin to bring out laws and enforce it. Those things stop. Just like you have in the Southern Nigeria when they begin to tell you that girl child doesn't have inheritance. Until Supreme Court spoke. You understand? If we can begin to enforce all of these laws in the north, make it mandatory, irrespective of whose fault is God, that this Child Rights Act was domesticated and practiced. Our constitution is superior to any religion, is superior to any culture or tradition. If we make it clear to these people and let them know that every child has that fundamental and inalienable right to education, this kind of things can be solved. But when we are treating with the King Globe because of the vote we want to get from the north, or because we don't want to offend certain persons, because what they see those children, out of school children, as a tool for influencing election results. Aside that, nothing again. They prefer to allow them to be begging, or maybe when one big man comes back, they assemble his house, they give them some of the tuwo and whatever you have. You understand? It's not the best way to go about it. So if we, National Assembly, can help us, and the executive can have that political will to enforce already laws we have that are very beating. Believe in me, things will move in the right direction.
Yes, I Comrade Gerald, if you can get me now, you've touched something quite sensitive there, the issue of the implication of this push you are advocating for to actually get these kids out of school. The implication is very delicate, very complex. In some areas, it might likely be misunderstood within the religious framework, and you know how sensitive this could be in the Northeast. You know how sensitive that could be in the Northeast, and sometimes you get governors not even going there at all. Governors not going there at all, and sometimes you also have problems. But now let me tie you a little bit to the conflict itself. That means the Northeast had suffered the Boko Haram insurgency, and this Boko Haram insurgency had lasted for several years yet, and some are saying it may likely be going to 2 decades in the few years to come now with this alarming level of insecurity in the Northeast. Maiduguri is not looking good. Yobe had not been looking good. Bauchi, they've tried to manage with some hit and run some years, and now we're not getting that. Jos is not also looking good. Gombe had tried as much as possible to maintain itself within that axis, not to get. Adamawa had gotten infiltration. The likes of Madagali and others had suffered insurgency here and there. With the insecurity still very fresh, with the resurgency of Boko Haram in the last few months, with the military blame on some security collapse in the Sahel region here, are you not sure we will get more children out of school again?
You see, when it comes to the issue of out of school children, hello?
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, yes. When it comes to issue of the Sahel region, they believe part of the things this sensitive word with regards to religion teaches in some areas like Islam is that if you have more than one wife, and because of that, you see even people that doesn't have the capacity have not even taken care of themselves, marrying more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wives. What it does that all the women must have children, and they believe that those children are their own assets, and because they are having plenty children, they don't have capacity to train or take care of. They keep the female ones, they release the male ones to become a martyr. They believe that the number you have, the greater you are. Of course, our strength should be in our population, but are we utilizing it? The answer is no. If you recall, when our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
hello, Mr. Gerald, can you hear me? If you can hear me, I just want to take 1 or 2 more questions here. It seems as if the connection is faulty somewhere here, but if you can hear me, want to get your take here, want to get more take on what you think about the northern governors and what the governors in the north are doing. The last time, some years ago, the Emir, can I call him the Emir of Kano now, so that we don't get someone coming to protest against independent television, because I know for sure that the throne is in contention. Some analysts put it, one supported by the Kano state government, one supported by Abuja, and so we are trying to be very clear. But let me use the former central bank governor, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, has said very clearly that as far as is concerned, some governors in the north prefer to build religious centers than the governors in the north are building. Schools, and for them, they feel that is the low-hanging fruit, which people really want and appreciated. Putting more attention on building more worship centers than building more schools. And as far as Sanusi is concerned, that is one of the bane, not allow the out-of-school children go off the street and go to schools in the north. What's your take? If you can hear me, Comrade Gerald Katchy.
Yes, I quite agree with Sanusi. I think he's eminence, Sanusi Lamido, I think it's Sanusi. The point there is this: it's not even just building the mosque that is the issue. I think if we can be very honest to ourselves and look inward to see how we can close some of these unnecessary things that we have practiced over the years that have not really help us to grow or even grow our morals, like the issue of government sponsoring pilgrimage and Hajj. It shouldn't be so. The billions we spent there every year can be used to build schools. Those adventures should be a private adventure. It should be a personal adventure. It should be individual adventure. If you have urge to go to Hajj, if you have need to go to pilgrimage, you should sponsor. It shouldn't be a government thing that you use to, rate governance. Those money budgets every year and the people recruited to work in that area should be channeled into school. Build at least basic education, primary to junior secondary, even primary to senior secondary. Make it mandatory. Create enforcers, if possible, in collaboration with the CSOs. Let the traditional rulers, just like the same way they created Hizbah and JTF and the vigilantes, let them find a way and call this one. This one is education task force, enforcement team, that will go to the areas. Any child that is found out of school and they trace the parents should be made to serve consequences, to serve punishment. If it's with anybody form of house help or aid or whatever it is, to be made to take consequences. We're even talking of after school children. Look at even the capital, Abuja, that's supposed to lead by example. That's supposed to be the mirror of Nigeria to the world. Our primary school children for months. For months.
Okay, thank you very much. It's just 1 minute before the hour. Thank you very much, Comrade Gerald Katchy, for your thoughts with us on the program this morning on ITV from our Abuja Network Center. We pray and hope that governors in the northern part of the country will see reasons with some of the views and thoughts we've shared on this program this morning and start to get these kids, particularly these male kids, off the street, or get kids off the street so that they can become very useful. We thank you very much, Comrade Gerald. We thank you for your thoughts with us. We thank you for sharing your thought. Like I said, Comrade, I'm just praying that the governors in the north will agree with you and start to take decisions on domesticating the Child Rights Act, which some of them have not domesticated, as well as getting these kids off the street, as well as looking at the billions of naira spent sometimes on pilgrimage to the Holy Land and putting most of them in education so that those who have the funds can fly and actually do their religious right, while the fund for the states will be used to take care of young men who are on the street and get them off the street so that these boys can actually go out. Thank you very much, Comrade Gerald, and we wish you the very best. Quickly now, let's be connected with Lagos, where Joshua Okata is standing by to look at internal party democracy when it comes to our body politics, internal party democracy. Most of the parties now are in crisis. PDP is not looking good. Labour Party is not looking good. ABGA, they've battled here and there. I don't know which of the party in opposition now can say that they are home and dry. Even the APC that we thought was home and dry. Yesterday, we saw the drama and the melodrama that played out in Gombe State, where they said, look, let's separate Tinubu from Shatima, and the whole place went agog and we saw the free for all. Okay, let's now take it to Lagos, where Joshua Okata will be discussing internal party democracy.